Saturday morning, I was fixing the back fence when my wife kissed my cheek. Felt like any other day. 25 years of Saturday mornings just like it. Smell of cinnamon and maple syrup drifting through the screen door. Her hand on my shoulder, warm and familiar. "See you in a bit," Martha said. I drove to pick up Tommy from baseball practice. 90 minutes, door to door. We stopped for sodas, talked about his curveball, normal father-son stuff. Normal Saturday. Came home to empty closets and a typed note on our bed. "I deserve happiness too. Don't look for me." Checked our joint savings on the laptop, $127,000 gone. Transferred that morning while I was gone. 23 years of Saturday overtime, every holiday shift, every storm I worked for double time. Gone. Tommy stood in the doorway watching his old man break. That was only the beginning. The drive back had been good. Tommy talked about his pitching, 2 strikeouts in the last inning. Coach said his arm was getting stronger. I'd bought us both Cokes at the gas station, the glass bottles he liked. Cost more, but the boy deserved it. "Dad, you think I could make varsity next year?" he asked. "Your curveball keeps improving like that?" "Yeah, I do." He smiled. 16 years old and still smiled when his old man praised him. I counted that as a win. Martha's car wasn't in the driveway when we pulled up. Unusual for a Saturday, but she'd mentioned something about errands. Or had she? I tried to remember breakfast, couldn't quite recall. The front door was unlocked. "Mom?" I called. Nothing. House too quiet. No TV, no radio, none of Martha's humming while she cleaned, just the wall clock ticking in the kitchen. Tommy headed upstairs. I walked to our bedroom. The closet door stood open. Empty hangers on the floor like scattered bones. Her side of the vanity cleared. Perfume bottles, makeup, the little jewelry box her mother gave her, all gone. My chest tightened. On the bed, centered on her pillow, a single sheet of paper. I picked it up. Expensive stationery, the kind you buy special. My hands started shaking before I even read it. "Ethan, I deserve happiness too. Don't look for me." Martha typed. Everything typed except the signature. Cold, planned. "Dad?" Tommy stood in the doorway, face pale. He'd checked her bathroom, I realized. Seen the empty shelves. "What's going on?" I couldn't answer. Couldn't form words. I sat down on the bed, still holding the note. The paper crinkled in my grip. My laptop was on the dresser. I opened it with numb fingers, navigated to our bank's website. Tommy came closer, watching over my shoulder. I could hear his breathing, quick, scared. Joint savings account. The one we'd built for 23 years. The number loaded. $127,483. On had been there yesterday when I checked it. Monthly ritual, making sure everything balanced. Now, $0 transaction history showed one transfer. This morning, 10:47 a.m., while I was driving to get Tommy. Recipient, account number I'd never seen before. "Dad?" Tommy's voice cracked. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. My throat had closed up. The room tilted sideways. $127,000. Every Saturday I'd worked overtime doing road maintenance. Every winter storm at 3 a.m. spreading salt in the dark. Every 4th of July and Thanksgiving I'd pulled holiday shift for that double-time pay. Every birthday dinner I'd missed to fix a bridge washout. Martha took it all in 37 minutes. My phone rang, her number. I stared at the screen, watching it buzz against the dresser. Couldn't move. Couldn't think. The ringing stopped. Tommy sat down beside me on the floor. Not touching, just present. The wall clock kept ticking. How long we sat there, I don't know. 5 minutes? 15? The phone rang again. Different number this time. My hand reached for it, stopped midair. Everything felt underwater, distant, unreal. "Dad!" Tommy's voice, small, younger than 16. "What do we do?" I looked at my son, saw the fear in his eyes, saw him trying to be strong, trying not to fall apart because his father was already broken on the bedroom floor. What do we do? I didn't have an answer. Martha's perfume still lingered on her pillow. The smell made me nauseous. I stood up, legs shaky but they held, and walked to the closet. Looked at the empty space where 25 years of her clothes had hung. She'd planned this. Changed the bank settings 6 months ago, the transfer notice said. 6 months of kissing my cheek while she plotted. 6 months of I love yous while she packed her exit. The phone rang a third time. I picked it up. Mr. Caldwell? A woman's voice. Professional. This is Sarah Chen from First National Bank. We're calling about unusual activity on your joint savings account. I know, I said. My voice sounded wrong. Hollow. My wife took it. Silence on the line. Sir, I'm very sorry. You'll need to come in Monday to file a dispute, but I have to tell you, if she was a co-owner with full authorization, she was. Then legally, she had the right to. I hung up. Tommy was standing now, phone in his hand, staring at the screen. His face had gone gray. What? I asked. He turned his phone toward me. Group text from his baseball team. Someone had already heard. Small towns. News travels faster than sense. Dude, is your mom really gone? My mom said she saw her loading suitcases Friday. That's messed up, man. Tommy's hands trembled. Everyone's gonna know. Yeah, they would. By Sunday, the whole county would be whispering, poor Ethan Caldwell. Wife ran off, cleaned him out. 67 years old, retired, and broke. Must have seen it coming, they'd say. Always signs. The thing was, I hadn't seen a damn thing. Dorothy Keene knocked on my door Tuesday evening. I'd been sitting on the porch for 3 hours, watching cars pass. Same spot I'd sat Monday. Same spot I'd sit tomorrow, probably. She carried a casserole dish, steam rising from under the foil. Smelled like chicken and rosemary. Comfort food. Ethan Caldwell, you're gonna let me in or I'm standing here till Christmas. I opened the door. Didn't have the energy to fight. Dorothy was 72, lived next door for 30 years, widow for 10. Knew everyone's business and wasn't shy about it. Normally drove me crazy. Today I was grateful for the company, though I wouldn't say it. She set the casserole on my kitchen counter, eyes scanning the space. Dishes in the sink. Mail piled up. Bank statement on the table. I'd left it there, couldn't file it, couldn't throw it away. You eating? She asked. Some. That's a lie, but we'll get to it. She sat down without being invited. Ethan, I saw something Friday I need to tell you about. I sat across from her, waited. Silver BMW, new one, parked in your driveway around noon. Martha loaded suitcases, 3 of them, maybe 4. Man was driving, younger, muscular, didn't recognize him. My stomach dropped. You saw this? From my kitchen window. Didn't think much of it then, figured maybe you knew, maybe you were separating quietly. But now, she reached across the table, put her hand on mine. Ethan, Martha wouldn't just leave. Not like this. What if she was coerced, blackmailed? There's elder abuse scams, financial exploitation. I latched onto it, desperate. You think? I think you should file a police report, missing person, let them investigate. Hope, fragile, pathetic hope, bloomed in my chest. Maybe Martha was a victim. Maybe this wasn't betrayal. Maybe someone forced her. I'll call the sheriff, I said. Dorothy squeezed my hand. That's right. And you eat that casserole? All of it. Deputy Miller came Wednesday morning. Young guy, maybe 40, uncomfortable with the whole situation, kept clearing his throat. Mr. Caldwell, I have to ask, were there marital problems? No, we were fine. The lie tasted bitter, but I believed it. Had to believe it. He took notes. Asked about the BMW, the money, whether Martha had seemed afraid or coerced. I told him about Dorothy's theory. He looked skeptical, but wrote it down. I'll check into it, sir, but I gotta be honest. If she withdrew the money herself and left willingly, there's not much we can do. Just check, I said. He left. I sat in the living room, staring at nothing. Tommy hadn't gone to school since Monday. Stayed in his room with the door closed, music playing too loud. I should talk to him, I knew. Should be a better father. Couldn't seem to move. Thursday I met with the bank manager, Bradley. Mid-40s, perfect teeth, cologne too strong, sat behind a mahogany desk that probably cost more than my truck. Mr. Caldwell, I understand this is difficult. His voice, patient, condescending. The voice of a man who'd never worked a manual day in his life. But the account was joint. Your wife had full authorization. When did she change the settings? He clicked his mouse, checked the screen. 6 months ago, March 15th, changed it to allow solo withdrawals of any amount. March. 6 months of planning. 6 months of her knowing what she'd do while I fixed fences and cooked dinners and believed we were fine. Can I get the money back? Bradley's smile, sympathetic, useless. Technically, Mr. Caldwell, no crime was committed. She had legal right to those funds. International wire fraud is complicated. Recovery unlikely. Technically, the word tasted like poison. I'm sorry, he said, but he wasn't. He had his salary, his mahogany desk, his 8-to-5 life. My ruined retirement wasn't his problem. I left without another word. Deputy Miller came back Friday afternoon. I was on the porch again. He climbed the steps slowly, like a man approaching a wounded animal. Mr. Caldwell, I have security footage from Valencia Airport. He held up a laptop. You should see this. Dorothy appeared from her house. Must have seen the patrol car. Couldn't resist. Good. I didn't want to watch alone. The deputy opened the laptop on my porch railing. Pressed play. Valencia Airport. Gate 17. Timestamp October 2nd, 2:14 p.m. 14 hours after she'd left. Martha walked through frame. Hair done, makeup perfect, laughing. A man beside her, muscular, 40s, gym clothes stretched tight across his chest. They held hands, matching luggage, first-class boarding passes visible in his other hand. He said something. She laughed, touched his arm. Intimate, easy, comfortable. At the gate, she kissed him. Not a peck. A real kiss. The kind you give someone you've been kissing for a long time. That's Carlos Mendoza, the deputy said quietly. Flight manifests show he booked both tickets 3 weeks ago. I watched her kiss him again. The deputy had paused it, but I hit play. Watched her choose another man in 4K clarity. No signs of coercion, Mr. Caldwell. I'm real sorry. Dorothy made an excuse, left. Couldn't watch my face anymore. Tommy had come to the doorway, saw the screen, turned and went back upstairs without a word. The deputy closed the laptop. Again, sir, I'm sorry. If you need anything. I couldn't hear him anymore. Just white noise. Static. She wasn't a victim. She was the villain. And I was the fool who never saw it coming. The deputy left. I sat alone on the porch, staring at nothing. My phone rang. My brother Ray's number. Hadn't talked to him in 18 months. How did he already know? I let it ring. Watched a beat-up Ford with Arizona plates pull into my driveway. Ray got out, walked toward the porch, face grim. Heard at the feed store, he said. Drove straight through. I wanted to tell him to leave, wanted to scream that I didn't need his pity, didn't need anyone. But the words stuck in my throat. Ray sat down in Martha's chair, didn't ask permission. You look like hell, brother. Feel worse. We sat in silence. The sun set. Neither of us moved. Days blurred. 5, 7, I lost count. The porch became my world. Same chair, same view, same cold coffee growing a film in the same chipped mug. Ray slept in his truck the first 3 nights. I didn't invite him in. Didn't invite him to leave either. Just sat there while my brother hovered like a ghost I couldn't shake. Neighbors drove by slower now, stared. 2 kids on bikes whispered as they passed, then pedaled fast like my misery might be contagious. Mrs. Henderson from church called twice. I didn't answer. Pastor Ed left a voicemail about God's plan. Deleted it without listening to the end. Tommy stopped coming out of his room. I'd hear him moving around at night. Bathroom, kitchen, back upstairs. During the day, just music. Too loud. Angry music. The kind with screaming instead of singing. I should talk to him. Should be a father. Couldn't seem to find the words. Ray knocked on my truck window Thursday morning. I was sitting in the garage, engine off, just sitting in the dark. Been there 20 minutes, maybe more. Can't do this alone, Ethan. Did fine alone for 67 years. That's the problem, brother. You're not fine. I got out. walked past him into the house. He followed. When's the last time you ate? Don't remember. Showered? I didn't answer. Ray opened the refrigerator. Dorothy's casserole, untouched. The milk had gone bad. I could smell it from across the room. He started pulling things out, throwing away what had spoiled. You can't just sit there and die, Ethan. Wasn't planning to die. Just sitting. Same thing. Maybe it was. Friday I went to see a lawyer. Patricia Hendricks. 50s, gray suit, eyes that had seen every version of human stupidity. Her office smelled like lemon cleaner and leather chairs. Mr. Caldwell, I'll be straight with you. She folded her hands on the desk. International fraud is complex. Without proof of conspiracy, recovery's unlikely. What's it cost to try? Retainers $8,000. Court costs, filing fees, international coordination, you're looking at $15,000 minimum. Could be more. I had $1,800 in checking after bills. That was it. Success rate? She paused. The pause told me everything. 20%, maybe less. And that's if we can prove she violated some statute I haven't thought of yet. I stood up. Thank you for your time. Mr. Caldwell, can't afford to fight, can't afford not to. That about sum it up? Her face softened. I'm sorry. System's not built for this. I sat in my truck in her parking lot for an hour. Couldn't go home, couldn't go anywhere. Just sat there watching people walk to their cars, their normal lives, their problems that weren't mine. Tommy's guidance counselor called that afternoon. Miss Rivera. Young, earnest, trying to help. Mr. Caldwell, Tommy hasn't been to school all week. I'm concerned. I'll handle it. He wrote an essay last month about silent heroes. The themes were concerning. I'm emailing it to you. I said I'd read it. Hung up. Didn't open the email. Tried to talk to Tommy through his bedroom door. Son, we gotta talk about school. I can't. His voice, muffled, raw. I just can't. Something hit the wall. Phone thrown, maybe, or a book. I put my hand on the door. Wanted to go in. Wanted to fix this. Didn't know how to fix myself, let alone him. Okay, I said. Okay. Walked away. Felt like the worst father in Indiana. Sunday I went to church. Don't know why. Habit, maybe, or spite, proving I could still show my face. Sat in the back pew. Arrived late, planned to leave early. Pastor Ed's sermon was about Job. Perfect, just what I needed. During coffee hour, I heard them whispering. Tried not to listen. Failed. Always wondered about that woman. Too pretty for her own good. Must have been signs, right? Man that blind. Mrs. Henderson, loud enough to hear. Some men just don't pay attention, then act surprised when the roof caves in. I left. Drove home, sat in the garage again, darkness wrapping around me like a blanket. Ray knocked on the truck window after 20 minutes. I rolled it down. I came home because you stood by Dad when he was dying, and I ran, Ray said. I owe you a spine to borrow till yours grows back. Don't need a nursemaid. Didn't offer to be one, offering to be your brother. Something in his voice, raw, honest. Something I hadn't heard in 20 years. His AA chip fell from his pocket when he shifted weight, landed on the concrete. 5 years. Date, 3 months after Dad's funeral. I picked it up, stared at the date. Ray had been fighting his own war all this time. Got sober, stayed sober, did the work, and I hadn't known, hadn't called, hadn't asked. I handed the chip back. Coffee? I said. Ray's face broke into something like a smile. Yeah, coffee. We walked inside together. Ray made it, knew exactly how I took it. Black, no sugar, 2 ice cubes to cool it fast. Muscle memory from 30 years ago. We sat at the kitchen table. Didn't talk, just sat there drinking coffee while the clock ticked and the house settled, and somewhere upstairs my son listened to angry music and grieved in his own way. The phone rang. Dorothy's number. I stared at it. 8 rings. On the 9th, I answered. Ethan Caldwell, you get your behind over here. Now. Dorothy, Now. She hung up. Ray raised an eyebrow. That woman scares me. Join the club. But I stood up, because Dorothy Keene didn't take no for an answer. And maybe, just maybe, I was tired of saying no to help. Dorothy's kitchen smelled like coffee and something baking, apple pie maybe. She pointed at a chair. I sat. Ray followed me in. She pointed at another chair. He sat too. On her kitchen table, a manila folder, her cell phone, and a determined look I'd seen her use on school board members back when she was secretary. Ethan Caldwell, you listen to me. She sat down across from us. You've got 8 days left. 8 days till what? She opened the folder. Bank documents. Printouts. Things I didn't understand. My nephew Marcus works bank fraud investigation in Chicago. He's been looking into your case. You want to hear what he found, or you want to keep sitting on that porch waiting to die? The words hit like a slap. Ray shifted beside me but stayed quiet. I'm listening, I said. Dorothy hit a button on her phone. Speaker mode. Uncle Ethan? A man's voice. Young, confident, slight stutter on the E. This is Marcus. Aunt Dorothy told me what happened. I'm sorry. That's terrible. Appreciate it, I said. Didn't know what else to say. I traced the wire transfer, Valencia account, Banco de Valencia. Still intact. She hasn't withdrawn the cash yet, but here's the thing. You've got a 90-day window to file an international fraud freeze. After that, Spanish law gets complicated. You're at day 8. Clock's ticking. My chest tightened. I can't afford a lawyer. Already checked. About that. Dorothy pulled an envelope from the folder. Opened it. Singles, fives, a few 20s. She spread them on the table like a poker hand. Church ladies pooled $3,000. Pastor Ed added $500 from the discretionary fund. Dale Pittman from the hardware store. You know Dale, always competing with you. He put in $200. I stared at the money. Couldn't speak. There's a note, Dorothy said, handing me a card. Pay us back by living well. Your neighbors, I can't. My voice cracked. This is charity. This is community, Dorothy said. You spent 40 years fixing roads for this county, paved the route to the hospital when my husband had his heart attack, worked Christmas Eve so other men could be home with their families. We're fixing a road for you now. Shut up and accept it. Ray's hand landed on my shoulder, squeezed once. Marcus's voice through the phone. I'll guide you through the filing process. No charge. Family doesn't charge family. I'm not your family, son. You are now, Dorothy said. I'm adopting you. Don't argue. For the first time in 8 days, something in my chest loosened. Not much, just enough to breathe. What do I need to do? I asked. First thing, Marcus said, talk to your son. Aunt Dorothy sent me his essay. He knows something, Uncle Ethan. Something important. The essay. I'd never opened the email. Dorothy handed me her phone. The essay was pulled up, ready. Heroes Who Stay Silent by Tommy Caldwell. I read it standing up. Couldn't sit. My hands shook holding the phone. Some heroes fight with fists. Some fight with words. My hero fights by staying quiet. He doesn't make scenes, doesn't raise his voice. When someone cheats him, he absorbs it. That's his strength. He absorbs pain so others don't have to. But I wonder sometimes if staying silent can also be a trap. If there's a difference between being strong and being stuck. If maybe the bravest thing isn't absorbing the hit, it's standing up and saying, no more. My hero taught me dignity means not every fight needs fists, but maybe he needs to learn that some fights need something. Even if it's just the truth, spoken out loud. The room swam. I blinked hard. Tommy had been watching me get cheated, watching me stay quiet, learning the wrong lesson, or maybe the right lesson applied wrong. He wrote that 6 weeks ago, Dorothy said gently. Before your wife left. Before. Tommy knew something before. I looked at Ray. Stay here. Climbed my own stairs like they were a mountain, knocked on Tommy's door. Go away, Dad. Can't do that, son. Need to talk. Long pause. So long I thought he wouldn't answer. The door opened 2 inches. Tommy's eye visible through the gap. Red-rimmed. Raw. Whatever you're carrying, I said. We carry it together. His face crumpled. The door opened wider. Dad, there's something I should have told you 6 months ago. Tommy's room was dark. Curtains closed against the afternoon sun. Smelled like teenage boy, deodorant, stale chips, unwashed sheets. I sat on the edge of his bed. He sat on the floor, back against the wall, knees pulled up. March 15th, he said. I used Mom's phone to text you about practice times. Saw a notification, see, with a heart emoji. My stomach dropped. Opened the texts. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. He was crying now, not looking at me. They went back months. Him saying he couldn't wait to have her all to himself. Her saying you'd never know, you were too trusting. They were planning Valencia, planning everything. Tommy, I didn't tell you because I thought maybe she'd change her mind. Maybe it was just talk. Then summer came and she got worse. Stayed out late. Stopped coming to my games. I saw her texting all the time, smiling at her phone. He pulled his knees tighter to his chest. August, I heard her on the phone in the garage. Didn't mean to listen, but I did. Her and him, Carlos, I guess his name is, they were planning the transfer. Said September when school started, they'd move. She said you pick me up Saturdays at 3, perfect window. He said you were too proud to fight, too old to chase them, said to take everything. Son, I recorded it. Tommy looked up finally. On my phone. 6 minutes. Them planning how to rob you. I kept it because I don't know why. Evidence? I didn't know what to do with it. He pulled his phone from his pocket, hands shaking so bad he almost dropped it. I'm sorry, Dad. I should have told you. I could have stopped this. This is my fault. I moved to the floor beside him, pulled him into a hug. He sobbed against my shoulder, 16 years old and broken because he'd tried to protect me by staying quiet, just like I'd taught him. Not your fault, I said. Not even a little bit. You were trying to be like me. Quiet, strong, don't make waves. I thought that's what you'd want. I know, but I taught you wrong, son. Sometimes silence is strength. Sometimes it's just fear wearing a mask. I pulled back, looked him in the eye. I stayed quiet my whole life thinking it made me a good man. But good men also fight when fighting's right. Do you want to hear it? He asked. The recording? Yeah, I do. He pressed play, Martha's voice, tinny through the phone speaker but clear, too clear. Saturday pickup, 3 p.m., 4-hour window. Carlos's voice, arrogant, dismissive. Plenty of time. He won't even know till Monday when the bank calls. He's too proud to make a scene, won't tell anyone. Carlos laughing. Old fool probably won't even file police report. He'll just absorb it. That's what he does. Absorbs. Better him than us, babe. You deserve this. We both do. 6 minutes. Them planning my destruction like they were discussing dinner plans. When it ended, I sat in silence, not angry, past anger, something colder, tactical. This was proof. Conspiracy, premeditation. Everything Marcus said we'd need. Does this help? Tommy asked, voice small. I looked at my son. This changes everything. We went back downstairs. Dorothy, Ray, Marcus still on speaker, waiting. I put Tommy's phone on the kitchen table. Play it, I said. Tommy did. Silence when it finished. Then Marcus. Uncle Ethan, that's conspiracy to commit fraud. Textbook elder exploitation. That changes everything. Dorothy's hand covered her mouth. Ray's jaw clenched so tight I heard his teeth grind. What now? I asked. Now, Marcus said. We go to war. Tommy sat at the kitchen table while Marcus walked us through the plan. The boy looked lighter somehow, still carrying weight, but not alone anymore. The recording proves intent, Marcus said through the speaker. They discussed timing, methodology, their expectation that Ethan wouldn't fight back. That's conspiracy. How long to file? I asked. We need to move fast, gather every document, bank statements, account authorization changes, anything showing the timeline. I'll file the swift freeze request tonight. But Ethan, you need a lawyer for the emergency petition. I'll call Patricia Hendricks, I said. The lawyer who'd told me I couldn't afford to fight. Maybe this changes her math. Dorothy was already dialing. Put Hendricks on speaker too. My kitchen had become command central. Ms. Hendricks, this is Dorothy Keene. You met with Ethan Caldwell last week. I remember. Mrs. Keene, I told Mr. Caldwell. He has new evidence, Dorothy interrupted. 6 minutes of his wife and her lover planning to rob him, discussing his character traits to ensure he wouldn't resist, recorded by his minor son in their home. Silence on the line. Play it for me. Tommy pressed play again. I watched his face while Martha's voice filled my kitchen for the third time. He flinched at certain parts. When Carlos called me an old fool, when Martha said I'd just absorb it, that word, absorb, like I was a sponge, not a man. When it finished, Hendricks spoke. Her voice had changed. Sharper. As interested. Mr. Caldwell, that recording is gold. That's premeditation, conspiracy, fraudulent intent, and possible elder exploitation given your age. The comment about you being too proud to fight, that shows they targeted your character traits. Predatory behavior. Can we get the money back? I asked. We can try. Emergency divorce filing citing fraud and abandonment. Motion to freeze and return assets. International fraud complaint. It won't be easy, but we've got a real shot now. What's it cost? The church ladies already sent me the $3,000, Dorothy said. Retainers covered. I stared at her. When did you? This morning. I knew you'd argue, so I didn't ask. She smiled. Sometimes it's easier to beg forgiveness than ask permission. Ray laughed. First time I'd heard him laugh in 20 years. Hendricks continued. I'll file tomorrow morning. Emergency hearing. We might get a court date within 2 weeks. Judge Morrison's handling emergency petitions this month. Is she fair? I asked. Stern, but fair. She doesn't like fraud cases. Lost her husband to something similar in the 90s. Hendricks paused. Mr. Caldwell, I think we can win this. Win. The word felt foreign. What do you need from me? I asked. Everything. Bank statements going back 2 years. Credit card statements. Phone records if you have them. Emails. Build me a timeline. I'll get it. And, Mr. Caldwell, that recording, make 3 backup copies. Keep them in different locations. That's your ammunition. We hung up. The kitchen fell quiet except for the refrigerator's hum. Tommy looked at me. Dad, are we really doing this? Yeah, son, we are. What if she fights back? What if? Then we fight harder. I put my hand on his shoulder. You did good, Tommy. Keeping that recording, telling me now. That took courage. Didn't feel like courage. Felt like I was going to throw up. Ray snorted. Oh, that's what courage feels like. Anyone tells you different is lying. Marcus's voice. Uncle Ethan, I'm filing the freeze request now. Should be processed by tomorrow morning. Martha's going to notice. Be prepared. She might call. Let her call, I said. Dorothy started gathering the money off the table, putting it back in the envelope. I'll take this to Hendricks myself. Make sure it gets where it needs to go. Dorothy, I said. She stopped, looked at me. Thank you. For all of it. You'd have done the same for me. You have done the same for me. Remember when Bill died? You fixed my furnace that winter. Wouldn't take a dime. Called it neighborly. Her eyes got watery. This is neighborly, Ethan. This is what we do. She left. Marcus said he'd call with updates and hung up. Ray started cleaning the kitchen. Dishes I'd ignored for a week, takeout containers, the general mess of a man giving up. Tommy stayed at the table, phone in his hands. Dad, that essay Mrs. Rivera sent you. Did you read it? I did. I wrote it about you. But also about me. About us. About how staying quiet was killing us both. I sat back down beside him. You were right. I taught you to absorb things. Thought that made me strong, made me steady. Turns out it just made me a target. So what now? We become loud? I thought about it. No. We become honest. There's a difference between making noise and speaking truth. One's just volume, others got weight behind it. Tommy nodded slowly. Truth's scarier, though. Yeah, it is. We sat there while Ray clattered dishes in the sink. The sun was setting through the kitchen window, orange light slanting across the table where church ladies' money had just bought me a chance at justice. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Freeze request submitted. Should process overnight. Account will lock at 9 a.m. Valencia time, 3 a.m. our time. She's going to wake up to a surprise. I showed Tommy. He almost smiled. Think she'll freak out? Count on it. Ray came back to the table, wiping his hands on a dish towel. You two eaten today? We looked at each other. Couldn't remember. That's what I thought. I'm making burgers. Nobody argues. He started pulling things from the fridge. Ground beef Dorothy must have brought. Buns, cheese. Ray moved around my kitchen like he'd been doing it for years, not days. Hey, Ray, I said. Yeah? Sorry it took so long. Me calling. After Dad died. He stopped, turned around. I'm sorry I left before he died. We're even. We're not even, but we're getting there. He nodded. Went back to cooking. Tommy's phone buzzed. Text from a friend. Baseball team wanted to know if he was coming back to practice. What should I say? He asked. You want to go back? I don't know. Maybe baseball's normal? I miss normal. Then go back. What if people ask questions about Mom? I thought about it. Tell them the truth. Your mom left. You're dealing with it. You don't owe them details. He typed out a response, hit send. Some of the tension left his shoulders. Ray served burgers on paper plates. We ate at the kitchen table, three men who'd been broken in different ways, trying to figure out how to be whole. Halfway through the meal, my phone rang. Martha's number. We all stared at it. Answer it, Ray said. You've got nothing to hide anymore. I picked up, put it on speaker. Martha. Her voice. Strained, angry, scared. What did you do? What are you talking about? The account. I can't access it. They're saying fraud investigation. You mean the account you stole from? It was joint money, Ethan. Legally mine. 6 months of planning. Saturday at 3 when I'm picking up our son. He's too proud to fight, too old to chase us. That ring a bell? Silence. Then, you're listening to gossip. People making things up. I'm listening to you and Carlos. 6 minutes of you planning how to rob me. Unrecorded. Dated. Saved. Her breathing changed. Panicked now. You're making a fool of yourself. Everyone will know. Everyone will. They already know. Difference is, now they'll know the truth. Ethan, please, you're really going to do this? Drag us through court? Make it public? Us. She said us. Her and Carlos, not her and me. Never her and me again. Yes, I said. I am. You'll regret this. Already regret marrying you. Can't get much worse. I hung up. The burger tasted better after that. The next 11 days moved fast. War room in my kitchen. Marcus on video calls. Hendricks checking in daily. Dorothy coordinating like a field marshal. Ray keeping us fed and functional. Tommy went back to school Wednesday. Came home quiet but standing straighter. Kids asked questions. He told them his mom left. He didn't want to talk about it. Most respected that. Couple didn't. Tommy said he handled it. I believed him. Thursday, Marcus called at 6 a.m. Accounts frozen. She tried to withdraw cash yesterday. Bank declined. She knows she's trapped now. Good, I said. Uncle Ethan, we've got 11 days until the 90-day window closes. After that, Spanish law gets messy. Hendricks filed the emergency petition? Yesterday. Court dates set for next Thursday. Cutting it close. Story of my life. Marcus laughed. Kid had a good laugh. Reminded me of Ray before the drinking got bad. Friday, I spent 8 hours going through files. 25 years of marriage reduced to paper trails. Bank statements showing my deposits. Every paycheck, clockwork, steady. Her withdrawals, small at first, then growing the last 2 years. Credit card statements. Charges at gyms I'd never been to. One gym in particular, Elite Fitness Miami. Same gym, over and over. 2 years of charges. Carlos's gym, had to be. Found hotel receipts tucked in Martha's desk drawer. 3 different hotels, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. She'd kept them, trophies maybe, evidence of her secret life, photos in the desk too. Martha's book club group shots. Looked closer at the backgrounds. There, a man in gym clothes, twice, 3 times, always at the edge of the frame, like he'd deliberately stayed out of focus. Carlos. In photos dating back 18 months. The affair was older than Tommy's discovery. Older than I'd imagined. 2 years minimum. Maybe more. I sat at her desk, my desk now, everything was mine now, and did the math. 23 years of marriage. At least 2 years of betrayal. Maybe the whole marriage was a lie. Maybe I'd been the fool from day one. Ray found me there at midnight, just sitting in the dark. You okay? Defining okay loosely? Sure. He turned on the lamp, looked at the papers spread across the desk. That's a lot of evidence. That's a lot of lies. Ray sat in the chair across from me, the chair Martha used to sit in when she paid bills, when she planned, when she plotted. You want to know something? Ray said. When Sarah left me, my ex-wife, I thought it was the drinking. Thought if I'd just sobered up sooner, she'd have stayed. That's probably true. Maybe. But you know what I learned in recovery? Sometimes people leave because of who they are, not who you are. Sarah needed someone who wasn't broken. I was broken. But that's not my fault. It's just what happened. You saying Martha leaving isn't my fault? I'm saying Martha stealing from you, planning it for months, mocking you behind your back. That's on her, not you. You could have been perfect, and she still would have left. Because this wasn't about you being enough. It was about her being greedy. I let that sit. When'd you get so wise? I asked. Therapy. Lots of therapy. AA makes you look at your shit. Not fun, but it works. We sat there, clock ticking, house settling. Outside, Dorothy's wind chimes sounded. She's checking on us, Ray said. Probably. You gonna go tell her we're fine? In a minute. But I stood up. Ray did too. We walked to Dorothy's together. Sunday, Dorothy recruited character witnesses, started after church, cornered Pauline from the diner, Pastor Ed, even Dale Pittman from the hardware store. Ethan Caldwell's been honest his whole life, Pauline said. Never shorted a tip, never caused trouble. If he says she stole from him, she stole from him. Pastor Ed, Ethan's the kind of man who shows up, funerals, fish fries, road work in blizzards, never asks for credit, just does what needs doing. Dale Pittman, my competitor, my sometime rival, said, Ethan and I don't always see eye to eye, but he's got integrity. More than I can say for that wife of his. Mrs. Henderson, church busybody, volunteered too. Martha always put on airs, too good for her raising. I knew something wasn't right about her. Dorothy collected names, phone numbers, wrote everything down. Judge might not need them, but better to have them ready. You think she'll rule in my favor? I asked. Dorothy's face got that look, the one that meant she knew something. Judge Morrison's fair, that's all I'll say. Monday Hendricks called. I filed everything. Emergency petition for divorce citing fraud and abandonment. Motion to freeze and return assets. International fraud complaint. You're on the docket for Thursday, 9 a.m. What should I expect? Judge Morrison's tough. Doesn't waste time. Martha's lawyer will appear via video from Spain. She's not coming back to face you. Cowards rarely do. Hendricks paused. Mr. Caldwell, I need you to understand something. We might not get all the money back. Bank fees, international transfer costs, legal expenses, they add up. You might get 80, 90 cents on the dollar. Better than zero. That's the right attitude. Now, let's talk about your testimony. Stick to facts. No emotion. Judges hate melodrama. But show dignity. You're not begging. You're demanding justice. We practiced questions and answers. How to sit. How to speak. when to pause. When she brings up marital problems, and she will, what do you say? I say I didn't know there were problems. I thought we were fine. And when she says you should have known? I say marriage is built on trust. I trusted her. That's not a flaw. Good. That's good. Tuesday, I got a haircut. Lou, the barber, 70 years old, been cutting hair since the 60s. What are we doing today, Ethan? Clean it up. Got court Thursday. He didn't ask questions, just cut. When I tried to pay, he waved me off. On the house. Go get 'em. Small gestures. They added up. Bought a new shirt at Dale's Hardware. They sold work clothes in the back. Navy blue button-down. Navy's good for court, Dale said. Judges like Navy. Shows respect. How do you know? Been to court twice. Zoning disputes. Lost both times, but I looked good. He sold it to me at cost. Another small gesture. Wednesday night, I couldn't sleep. Sat on the porch at 3 a.m. Ray found me there. Big day tomorrow. Yeah. You scared? I thought about it. Terrified. Good. Means you care. We sat in silence. Crickets singing. Distant train whistle. Normal night sounds that felt different because tomorrow everything changed. Ray, why'd you really come back? He was quiet a long time. Because I was at a meeting and my sponsor asked if there was anyone I'd wronged that I hadn't made amends to. I said my brother. He said, so what are you waiting for? I didn't have a good answer. You came back to apologize? I came back to be here. Apologizing's just the start. I'm glad you came. Me too. Dawn broke. Gray light turning gold. Thursday morning. Court day. Tommy came down at 6, dressed in slacks and a button-down shirt, his game day clothes. You ready? He asked. No. But we're going anyway. Ray made coffee, strong and black. We drank it standing in the kitchen, 3 men about to walk into battle. Dorothy knocked at 7:30. Y'all need to eat something. She'd brought muffins. Blueberry. We ate them in the truck on the way to the courthouse. The courthouse was old. Brick. 3 stories, built in 1947 according to the cornerstone. Indiana state flag hanging beside the American flag. Steps leading up to heavy wooden doors. Hendricks met us outside. Navy suit, briefcase, all business. Martha's lawyer is Gregory Vance. Miami attorney. Does a lot of expat work. He'll appear via video. Don't let him rattle you. He's good at making people defensive. I'll keep my temper. I know you will. We walked up the steps, Ray on my left, Tommy on my right, Dorothy behind us like a one-woman army. At the doors, I stopped, put my hand on the brass handle. This was it. Cross this threshold, no going back. Win or lose, everyone would know. The whole county would hear what Martha said about me, how she'd mocked me, used me, but they'd also hear the truth. I pushed the door open. Inside, wood paneling, marble floors, smell of lemon polish and old law books, portraits of judges on the walls, men in robes, stern faces, guardians of justice. Courtroom 3, Judge Morrison's courtroom. The bailiff pointed us to our seats. Front row, left side. Martha's lawyer would be on the video screen to the right. Judge Morrison entered, mid-60s, steel gray hair in a tight bun, reading glasses on a chain. She sat, looked at the docket, looked at me. Her eyes, stern but not unkind. Measuring. Mr. Caldwell, she said. Please approach. I stood. Walked to the table where Hendricks waited. My heart hammered. Palms sweated. But my voice, when I spoke, was steady. Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready. Judge Morrison adjusted her reading glasses. This is an emergency petition for divorce and asset recovery filed by Ethan Caldwell against Martha Caldwell, currently residing in Valencia, Spain. Mrs. Caldwell's counsel is appearing remotely. Mr. Vance, are you there? The video screen flickered. Split view. Gregory Vance in a crisp white shirt. Palm trees visible through the window behind him. Mediterranean blue sky. Sunshine. He looked like a man on vacation, not a lawyer defending fraud. Present, Your Honor, Gregory Vance, representing Mrs. Caldwell. Mrs. Caldwell herself is not appearing? Mrs. Caldwell is residing in Spain, Your Honor, not required for civil proceedings. Morrison's eyebrow raised, just slightly. We'll see about that. Miss Hendricks, you may present. Hendricks stood, calm, professional. Your Honor, on October 1st of this year, Mrs. Martha Caldwell emptied a joint savings account containing $127,000 while her husband transported their minor son from school. This was not a marital dispute. This was a coordinated theft planned over 6 months with an accomplice, Mr. Carlos Mendoza, with whom Mrs. Caldwell was having an extramarital affair. Vance's face on screen, smug smile. Your Honor, this is inflammatory language for what is simply a difficult divorce. Mrs. Caldwell had full legal access to joint marital funds. Mrs. Hendricks, Morrison asked. We have evidence of premeditation and conspiracy, Your Honor. A recording made by the Caldwell's 16-year-old son of Mrs. Caldwell and Mr. Mendoza discussing the planned transfer, the timing, and their expectation that Mr. Caldwell would not pursue recovery. Morrison leaned forward. A recording? Yes, Your Honor. Made in the family home. 6 minutes and 47 seconds. We'd like to present it. Objection, Vance said quickly. Private conversation, possibly illegally recorded. By a minor child in his own home? Morrison's voice, sharp. Try again, counsel. Your Honor. Overruled. Ms. Hendricks, present your evidence. Tommy handed the USB drive to the bailiff. The bailiff plugged it into the courtroom system. The room went silent. Then Martha's voice filled the space, tinny through speakers but clear enough. Saturday pickup, 3 p.m., 4-hour window. I kept my eyes forward, didn't look at the screen. Listened to my wife of 25 years discuss how to rob me like I was a bank, not a man. He's too proud to make a scene, won't tell anyone. Carlos's laugh echoed off the wood paneling. Old fool probably won't even file police report. Behind me someone gasped. Dorothy, probably. He'll just absorb it. That's what he does. Absorbs. Better him than us, babe. You deserve this. We both do. Valencia apartment's perfect. Once the money clears, he can't touch us. 6 minutes felt like 6 hours. Every word another nail. When it ended, the silence was absolute. Even the court reporter had stopped typing. Judge Morrison removed her glasses, cleaned them slowly, put them back on. Mr. Vance, I heard no ambiguity in that recording. On screen, Vance had lost his smirk. Your Honor, taken out of context. Counsel, context was abundantly clear. Your client and her accomplice discussed timing the transfer to coincide with Mr. Caldwell's absence. They discussed his character traits to ensure he wouldn't resist. They referred to him as an old fool who absorbs mistreatment. Morrison's voice, ice cold. That is textbook financial exploitation with conspiracy. Your Honor, my client is 62, not elderly. Mr. Caldwell is 67. The exploitation statute applies to victims, counsel. And frankly, age is irrelevant when discussing conspiracy to commit fraud. Vance tried again. Spanish law. This court has jurisdiction over assets fraudulently transferred from Indiana. Assets that, according to your own documentation, remain in a Spanish account untouched because your client was awaiting, quote, dust to settle. Does your client wish to make a statement? The screen split. Martha appeared beside Vance. I'd been avoiding looking at the screen. Couldn't avoid it now. She looked good, tanned, hair highlighted, expensive sunglasses pushed up on her head. Behind her, the same Valencia apartment, same Mediterranean view, the life she'd bought with my retirement. Your Honor, Martha said, voice defensive, aggressive. I had every right to that money. I spent 25 years married to a man who didn't see me, who took me for granted. I deserve happiness. Mrs. Caldwell. Morrison's voice could have frozen fire. This court is not interested in your self-justifications. You coordinated with an accomplice to drain joint accounts while your husband transported your minor child. You discussed his expected response to ensure he wouldn't pursue legal action. You characterized him as too proud, too old, an old fool who absorbs. Is that accurate? Martha's face, panic replacing bravado. That's not. He's twisting things. The recording speaks for itself. Your Honor, Martha looked at Vance. He looked away. No help there. Morrison shuffled papers. I've heard enough. I'm issuing the following orders, effective immediately. The courtroom held its breath. 1. The Valencia account containing funds transferred from the Caldwell Joint Savings remains frozen pending complete fraud investigation. 2. Mrs. Caldwell shall coordinate return of $127,000 within 30 days or face contempt of court charges and possible criminal prosecution. 3. Emergency divorce is granted on grounds of fraud, conspiracy, and abandonment. 4. I'm referring this matter to the FBI for investigation of international wire fraud and elder financial exploitation. 5. An international warrant is issued for Carlos Mendoza as co-conspirator in this scheme. The gavel fell. Sharp crack that echoed. This court is adjourned. Morrison stood, exited through the side door, gone. On screen, Martha and Vance were arguing, audio cut but the panic visible. Carlos appeared behind Martha, younger, muscular, exactly like I'd imagined. His face, fear replacing arrogance. The screen went black. They disconnected. I sat there. Couldn't move. Didn't feel victorious. Just finished. Like I'd run a marathon and crossed the line and now had to figure out how to walk again. Tommy's hand landed on my shoulder from the row behind. Steady. Grounding. You did it, Dad. Ray beside me. Damn right he did. Hendricks closed her briefcase. Mr. Caldwell, that was the strongest case I've presented in years. Judge Morrison doesn't rule like that unless she's certain. Thank you, I managed, for believing it was worth fighting. You made it easy. You had truth on your side. Outside the courtroom, people from other cases stared. Word spreads fast in a small courthouse. The man who'd fought his wife's betrayal and won. Dorothy waited in the hall, eyes red. She pulled me into a hug. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. We walked outside. The sleet from this morning had turned to snow. Light flurries, November's first taste of winter. I stood on the courthouse steps and breathed deep. First full breath in 3 weeks. Tommy stood beside me. Dad, I'm starving. Ray laughed. Me too. Dorothy wiped her eyes. Hank's drive-in? My treat. I looked at the three of them. My brother who'd driven from Arizona, my son who'd carried impossible weight, my neighbor who'd refused to let me quit. Yeah, I said. Let's go. The cardinal was back, sitting on the courthouse flagpole, bright red against gray sky. It sang 3 clear notes. Ray noticed me looking. Good omen? Maybe. Or just a bird. Take the omen, Ethan. You earned it. We walked to Ray's truck, snow melting on our shoulders. Tommy climbed in back. Dorothy rode shotgun. Ray drove. I sat behind Ray, watching the courthouse shrink in the side mirror, the place where I'd reclaimed something I'd thought was lost forever. Not my money. Not yet, anyway. My dignity. That was enough for today. 3 months later, the garden was my morning ritual. Early April. 6 a.m. Coffee in hand, black with half a spoon of sugar now. Small sweetness I'd allowed myself. The tomato plants were 8 inches tall, peppers coming in strong, squash spreading like it owned the place. I watered them slow, watching the soil darken. Ray had taught me that. Water slow, so it sinks deep. Rushed watering just runs off, doesn't feed the roots. Lot of life lessons in gardening turned out. The legal stuff had settled mostly. Bank transferred $114,227 back to my account. Lost $13,000 to fees, international charges, legal costs. The price of justice. I'd paid worse for less. Divorce finalized in February. Martha didn't contest, knew she couldn't win. She was still in Spain, still with Carlos. FBI investigation ongoing, but extradition was slow. Spanish authorities cooperating, which meant doing nothing fast, didn't matter anymore. She was their problem now, not mine. Tommy came out on the porch. Saturday morning, no school. Sleep, messy hair, basketball shorts, wearing my old army t-shirt I'd thought was lost. Morning, Dad. Morning, son. He'd turned 17 last month, shot up 2 inches over winter. His voice had finished dropping, man's voice now, not a kid's. Made varsity starting pitcher. Scouts had come to 3 games already. Allie Martin's father said Kentucky was interested. College. My boy might get a scholarship. He joined me in the garden, coffee mug in hand. I'd started letting him drink it. Figured 17 was old enough. When can we eat something from here? He asked. Tomatoes, maybe 6 weeks. Peppers, 8. Worth the wait? Always is. We stood there in comfortable silence, father and son. Nothing needed saying. Ray's truck pulled in the driveway, 6:30, like clockwork. He worked at Dale's Hardware now, 8 months steady, had his own apartment on Maple Street, but spent most mornings here before his shift. Morning, Ray called. Carried a bag from the diner. Pauline sent biscuits and gravy. Says you're both too skinny. We're not skinny, Tommy said. Tell Pauline that. She doesn't listen to me. We ate on the back porch. New tradition. Saturdays on the porch, talking or not talking, just being. Ray had hit 6 years sober in March. I'd gone to his meeting with him, open meeting, anyone could attend. Watched him get his chip. Watched him sponsor a newcomer, a kid maybe 25 who'd just gotten out of rehab. Ray paid forward what he'd learned, same as I was trying to do with Tommy. Tommy, you talked to your mother lately? Ray asked. Tommy shook his head. She emailed last week. I didn't answer. I looked at him. You don't have to answer if you're not ready. I know. I don't know what to say to her. Hey, Mom, how's the money you stole working out? He stabbed at his biscuit. I don't hate her. Is that weird? No, I said. She's still your mother. You're allowed to feel complicated things. I don't want to see her, though. That's allowed, too. You don't owe her anything, son. He nodded, relieved. Sometimes kids just need permission to feel what they already feel. Dorothy's wind chime sounded, morning breeze picking up. She'd be awake soon if she wasn't already. Probably making something. $10 says casserole, Tommy said. Ray grinned. 20 says pie. Both, I said. She's bringing both. An hour later, doorbell rang. Dorothy with tuna casserole and apple pie. Thought you boys might be hungry. We were. Always were. She stayed for coffee, sat in Martha's old chair, my chair now, but I'd started thinking of it as Dorothy's. She'd earned it. Marcus called me this morning, Dorothy said. FBI's filing formal charges against Carlos. Wire fraud, conspiracy, elder exploitation, looking at 5 to 10 years if they convict. And Martha? Ray asked. Accessory charges likely. But she's talking, apparently, trying to blame Carlos for everything. Says he manipulated her. I snorted. She manipulated herself. Nobody made her steal from me. That's what the prosecutors think, too. Dorothy sipped her coffee. Ethan, she's trying to come back to the States. Says she wants to make amends. My chest tightened. When? Don't know. Marcus said her lawyer's negotiating with the FBI. Might be house arrest, might be jail time, but she's coming back. Tommy's face had gone pale. Will we have to see her? Not if you don't want to, I said. She made her choices. We make ours. Dorothy reached over, squeezed Tommy's hand. You're allowed to protect your peace, sweetheart. Both of you are. The garden project had started in late March. I'd stared at Martha's rose bushes for weeks, blood-red blooms mocking me every morning. Those gotta go, I'd told Ray one Saturday. He'd brought tools the next day. Didn't ask permission, just knew. We'd spent that Saturday digging up rose bushes. Roots went deep, hard work, sweat and dirt and physical labor that felt like therapy. Tommy had watched from the porch, then joined us after 10 minutes. 3 men clearing space for something new, hauled the bushes to the burn pile, watched them smoke and char, ashes to ashes. What are you planting? Ray had asked. Stuff we can eat, tomatoes, peppers, squash. No more pretty things that don't feed anybody. We'd planted together. Heritage tomatoes, Dad's favorite. Bell peppers, jalapenos for salsa, zucchini that would take over if we weren't careful, and basil, always basil. Grandpa ever have a garden? Tommy had asked. Biggest tomatoes in the county, I'd said. Wouldn't share his secret. Ray had laughed. It was Epsom salt. He told me when he was dying. You weren't there, so he told me. Old wound. but it didn't sting like it used to. Well, now we all know, I'd said. And we'd kept planting. Life had found a rhythm, not the old rhythm, that was gone forever. New rhythm, different, but mine. Mornings, coffee on the porch, check the garden. Ray stopped by most days. Tommy left for school with actual homework done. Color back in his face. Evenings. Dinner together more often. Ray cooked sometimes. I cooked sometimes. Tommy set the table and complained about having to do dishes. Normal teenager stuff. Weekends. Baseball games. Tommy pitched a no-hitter in March. Ray and I stood and cheered till our throats were raw. Allie Martin kissed Tommy after the game. He came home grinning, wouldn't talk about it. I didn't push. Some things a boy needs to keep private. Sundays, church. Ray came with me now, sat together in the back pew. Sometimes Pastor Ed's sermons hit. Sometimes they didn't. But we showed up. Mrs. Henderson had apologized for her gossip. Awkward, fumbling apology, but real. I'd accepted it. Grudges took too much energy I didn't have. Dale Pittman and I had lunch once a month now. Hardware store talk. Competition turned friendship. Life's funny that way. Pauline still gave extra bacon. Tradition now. I'd stopped trying to pay extra. She'd just wave me off. My reputation in town had changed. Not the pitied fool anymore, the quiet fighter. The man who'd stood up when it mattered. I didn't know how to feel about that, but I'd stopped worrying about how people saw me. Late April evening, the three of us in the garden. Tommy learning to stake tomato plants, Ray watering peppers, me checking for pests. The cardinal came back. Same one, different one, impossible to tell. But it landed on the new fence post Ray had installed, sang 3 clear notes. Tommy stopped working. Dad, you think we're going to be okay? I looked at my son. 17, almost grown, carrying scars he shouldn't have to carry but carrying them anyway. Yeah, son, I think we are. Not like before, though. No, not like before. Is that okay? I thought about it, really thought. Before, I thought we were fine, but we weren't. I was blind and your mother was lying and you were carrying secrets. That wasn't okay. It just looked okay. And now? Now we're not okay all the way. Still healing. Still figuring things out. But we're honest. That's better than fine pretending. Tommy nodded slowly. I like honest better. Me too. Ray joined us. You three gonna stand around talking feelings or we gonna finish this garden? Tommy laughed. First real belly laugh I'd heard from him in months. We kept working. Hands in soil, sun on our backs. Cardinal singing its 3-note song. The garden would feed us all summer. The work would keep us grounded. The ritual would remind us we'd survived. We were surviving. We'd keep surviving. That was enough. More than enough. June morning, 5 a.m. I'd learned to sleep again, mostly. Still woke early, but that was age, not fear. Coffee on the porch, the ritual that had saved me. Black with half a spoon of sugar. Small sweetness that used to feel like surrender, now felt like permission. The garden was thriving. Tomatoes heavy on the vine, turning from green to that first blush of red. Peppers glossy and firm. Squash spreading across the fence line like it owned the place. The basil smelled like Dad's garden had, sharp and green and alive. I'd built this. Me and Ray and Tommy built something that would feed us. Martha's roses were ash and memory. This was real. Inventory of what I'd lost. 25-year marriage that turned out to be partly illusion. $13,000 I'd never see again. Easy sleep. Probably permanent. Innocence about trust. The man I'd been who fixed fences believing he was building something solid. That man was gone. Couldn't get him back. Didn't want to. Inventory of what I'd gained. Brother who showed up and stayed. Son who knew his father could break and rebuild. Community I'd taken for granted now proven real. Self-knowledge, the hard kind, learned through fire. Agency, the power to say no, to fight back, to stand up, and a garden, small thing, but mine. I'd learned something Martha's betrayal had tried to teach me wrong. Silence isn't always strength. Sometimes it's just fear with good PR. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't absorbing the hit. It's standing up and saying no more. I'd said it. Finally. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Final settlement processed. $114,327 confirmed in your account. Case officially closed. You did it, Uncle Ethan. I stared at the number. Not what I'd started with, but enough. Enough to survive. Enough to rebuild. Enough to leave Tommy something when I was gone. Just enough. Ray's truck pulled up at 6, earlier than usual. Couldn't sleep, he said, climbing the porch steps. Figured you'd be up. I poured him coffee from the thermos I'd brought out. We sat in comfortable silence. 5 minutes passed, then 10. You ever think about dating again? Ray asked. I laughed, genuine laugh. Hell no, not for years, maybe never. Too much work? Too much risk? Too much. Everything. Right now, I got enough. Ray nodded. Fair. But maybe someday? I thought about it. Really thought. Maybe. Right now, I got my son, my brother, my garden, my mornings. That's full. Different kind of full, but full. Yeah, Ray said. I get that. Dorothy's wind chimes started. Morning breeze. She'd be over soon with something. Woman couldn't help herself. You happy? Ray asked. Defining happy loosely? Getting there. Good enough. Tommy emerged at 7. Saturday. No school, no practice. Just slow morning. He'd grown another inch. Taller than me now. When had that happened? Morning, he said. Voice deep. Man's voice. I handed him coffee. He took it without complaint now. Even liked it, I think. Garden's looking good, Dad. We'll have tomatoes in 2 weeks. Maybe less. Think they'll taste like Grandpa's? Hope so. Used his Epsom salt trick. Tommy smiled. Rare still, but more common than 3 months ago. He'd be proud. Oh, of the garden. Of everything. Think so? Yeah, I do. Dorothy's knock at the door, right on schedule. She had muffins today, blueberry, and a casserole for later. You boys eating enough? Yes, ma'am, Ray said. Promise. She looked at me, really looked. You look better, Ethan. Got some color back. Feel better. Good, that's good. She set the muffins down. Marcus wanted me to tell you, Martha's sentencing is next month. They're offering her probation if she testifies against Carlos. I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction. Just nothing. That's fine, I said. You don't want to know more? No. Her consequences aren't my business anymore. My business is this. I gestured at the house, the garden, the porch where my family sat. This is what I'm responsible for. Dorothy squeezed my shoulder. You've come a long way, Ethan Caldwell. Had help. That's the point. You let people help. That's the hard part. She left. The 4 of us, me, Ray, Tommy, and the ghost of who I used to be, sat on the porch eating muffins while the sun climbed higher. Mid-morning, we worked the garden together. Tommy showed me something his biology teacher taught him about pruning suckers off tomato plants. Ray fixed the fence post that was leaning. I weeded between the peppers. The cardinal landed on the fence, same spot as always, sang its 3-note song. That bird's always watching us, Tommy said. Good omen, Ray said. Cardinals are good luck. Or it's just a bird that likes our fence, I said. Take the omen, Dad. We earned it. Maybe we had. I straightened up, hands covered in dirt, looked at what we'd built. Not perfect. Uneven rows in places. Some plants thriving, some struggling, but growing, all of it growing, like us. Tommy asked, Dad, what should we plant in that corner next year? Next year? The boy was thinking ahead, planning. That was good. Maybe some herbs, rosemary, thyme. Stuff that comes back every year. Perennials? Yeah. Plant once, harvest forever. That's smart gardening. That's smart living, Ray said. He wasn't wrong. That evening, the 3 of us on the porch again. Sweet tea Ray made, learning all my rituals now, making them his own, passing them to Tommy. Continuity. That's what family was. Rituals and recipes and lessons passed down. Tommy's phone buzzed. Allie Martin texting. He smiled, typed back. You gonna bring her by sometime? I asked. Maybe. She wants to meet you. Says her dad talks about you. Says what? Says you're tough. In a good way. Says you did what needed doing. I didn't know what to say to that. Ray saved me. Your dad's stubborn. I'll give him that. Stubborn and tough aren't the same thing, I said. Sometimes they are, Tommy said. You were stubborn enough to fight. That's tough. The boy had gotten wise. When had that happened? The sun set. Orange and pink sky. Cardinals singing everywhere. Mating season, Ray said. The males were claiming territory, calling for mates. Life continuing. Cycles repeating. Nature doing what it does. What does a man have left when everything's stripped away? I said out loud. Ray and Tommy looked at me. That's what I wondered. Sitting on the bedroom floor with her note, thought the answer was nothing. What's the answer? Tommy asked. I looked at my son, my brother, my garden, my house that needed paint but was mine, my truck with 180,000 miles that still ran, my mornings on this porch, my community that had shown up, my second chances and hard lessons and small mercies. Just enough, I said. Turns out, you've got just enough. Tommy nodded, getting it, understanding what I'd learned the hard way. Just enough to fight, just enough to ask for help, just enough to water tomatoes and forgive your brother and show your son what real strength looks like. Ray's hand landed on my shoulder. Squeezed once. The cardinals sang, 3 clear notes, then flew away into the darkening sky. We sat there as stars came out. 3 men who'd been broken different ways, learning how to be whole, not happy, not fixed, not healed all the way, but enough, just enough. And that was plenty. We tell stories about men like Ethan because we need to know it's possible. That betrayal doesn't have to be the end. That asking for help isn't surrender. That fighting back, even when you're tired, even when you're old, even when everyone whispers you should just let it go, matters. Ethan's story isn't special because it's rare. It's special because it's common. How many men sit on porches right now, carrying quiet shame, believing they're alone? How many sons watch fathers break and don't know bridges can be rebuilt? How many brothers live estranged over wounds neither remembers starting? How many neighbors watch suffering but don't know if their casserole will be welcomed? Ethan tore out his wife's roses and planted tomatoes, not because tomatoes are better than roses, because roses were hers and tomatoes are his, because beauty that doesn't feed you is a luxury you can't afford when you're rebuilding. Because sometimes you need to choose sustenance over appearance. The garden will feed him all summer. The roses just reminded him who he wasn't anymore. Here's what the story teaches. Silence isn't always strength. Sometimes it's just fear with good manners. Pride can keep you warm until it freezes you to death. The people who show up with casseroles are telling you something worth hearing. You matter. Your son is watching how you handle being broken. Teach him it's okay to break and okay to rebuild. Justice won't make you whole, but it might make you whole enough. If you're sitting on your porch right now, holding your own version of that note, wondering if you have enough left to fight, Ethan says you do. Maybe not enough to win everything back. Maybe not enough to erase what happened, but enough to water tomatoes, enough to call your brother, enough to tell your son the truth, enough to answer when the neighbor knocks, enough to add sugar to your coffee, enough. Somewhere in Indiana, a 67-year-old man tends a garden. His hands are in the soil. His brother is watering peppers. His son is learning to stake tomatoes. A cardinal sings from the fence. The man looks up, squints against the sun, and gets back to work. That's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of what comes next. And what comes next is up to him, just like what comes next is up to you. The question Ethan answered, what do you have left when everything's stripped away? The answer he found, just enough. May you find the same.